The Astra Militarum, or Imperial Guard, is the embodiment of humanity's will to survive, a monolith of flesh and steel that stretches across the stars. The Guard's soldiers are countless, their numbers so vast that no one can truly know their total strength, an ocean of warriors, always rising, falling, and rising again. These men and women, drawn from 1,000 worlds, form the shield and hammer of the Imperium. Though they are but mortals, without the genetic enhancements of the Adeptus Astartes, they wield their numbers like a blade, striking against the innumerable foes that would see humanity fall. The Imperial Guard traces its roots to a time before the stars were made for mankind. In the earliest days, when terror was still scorched from the wars of unification, the Emperor's banners were borne by the Old Hundred. These were the ancient regiments, hardened, disciplined, yet still bound to the bloodied soil of old Earth. Their origins were both noble and ignoble. Many formed from the remnants of the warlords who once defied the Emperor, but, upon bending the knee, they were allowed to continue their service. Thus, these regiments carried the Emperor's light to the darkness beyond terror, honored as the first of humanity's soldiers to take part in his grand design. But no army, however storied, remains unchanged by time. As the Emperor departed to wage his great crusade, so too did the nature of his army shift. The men of the Old Hundred were now the bedrock of a much larger force, bolstered by the myriad recruits drawn from every world brought into compliance. These new formations, dubbed the Imperial Army, were more than a garrison. They became the vast mortal backbone of the Emperor's conquests. Yet, it was a precarious loyalty, for though they fought alongside the mighty Astartes, the bonds of command were fragile. In the fires of the Horus heresy, these bonds shattered, and the army was torn asunder. Regiments turned traitor, commanders crowned themselves kings over the ashes of broken worlds, and the Imperium nearly collapsed under its own weight. It is from the ruins of that time, in the wake of blood and betrayal, that the Imperial Guard was reborn. The Imperium, wiser now to its flaws, severed the chains that had once bound the army to the navy, ensuring that no single man could wield both the might of the stars and the strength of the ground. So it was that the Guards took its place as the protector of humanity, distinct from the fleets that carried them, yet forever intertwined with the fate of the galaxy. The Imperial Guard follows a regimental structure, both grand in scale and deeply fragmented by tradition. It is said that no two regiments are alike, for the Imperium spans countless worlds, and each of these worlds brings its own customs, strategies, and methods of war. From the icy wastes of Valhalla to the toxic jungles of Katakan, the regiments vary in size, composition, and even the weapons they bear. Some regiments, upon their founding, number in the tens of thousands, while others barely scrape together a few hundred souls. Yet, in all their diversity, they are united in their purpose to serve the Emperor, to fight his wars, and to die in his name. The Imperial Guard exists under the rigid hierarchy of the Departamento Munitorum, its every action directed by the ineffable designs of terror. At the apex of this organization sits the Lord Commander Militant, a figure of such exalted authority that his mere word echoes across entire star systems. He, a High Lord of Terror, shapes the strategies of countless worlds, yet seldom do his commands touch the field directly, for the weight of his voice filters down through a hierarchy of segmentum lords, each a sovereign in their own sphere, each tasked with guiding the wars that scourge their corner of the galaxy. Beneath this celestial design, the daily grind of war belongs to the General Staff, a decentralized corps whose structure defies simple classification. The Lord Generals, powerful though they are, command only fragments of this colossal machine. Their orders are passed down to an intricate weave of marshals, lieutenant generals, and majors, all striving to shape the chaos of war into something coherent, each striving to be the Emperor's instrument. These men and women, drawn from myriad worlds and cultures, command armies composed of equally varied souls who have learned to fight under the cruelest suns and in the deepest voids. Yet, it is often the quiet voices of Imperial tacticians, those who labor without rank, who shape the fates of entire campaigns, their strategies threading the eye of annihilation. Parallel to this structure stands the Commissars, a watchful presence whose gaze keeps every officer, high or low, always mindful of loyalty. The Colonel, a familiar figure to the Guardsmen under his care, know that his position, while one of authority, is always in the shadow of the Commissar's judgment. The regiment he commands may be vast, but its soul remains fragile, straining under the weight of war and the complexities of an Imperium that stretches beyond their sight. They march not for glory, nor for the wisdom of their distant masters, but for survival in a universe where death is a constant companion and treachery always beckons. Within these regimental structures lay the multitude of different types of units. To name a few, there are armoured regiments, whose ironclad engines of war crush all before them, and light infantry regiments, who slip like shadows through the battlefields. Deathworld regiments fight with ferocity born from surviving planets that would kill most men, while artillery regiments rain destruction from afar. In times of war, these diverse regiments are combined, not merely by necessity, but by design. And while these regiments are expected to fight and die as cogs in the grand machine of the Imperium, their survival, through battle, often becomes something more, a unique identity forged in the fires of conflict. Some, like the Prozan 314th, arise from the melding of two disparate forces, Tatakan and Elysian, brought together by fate. Such unions are rare, often clumsy, but when they succeed, they create something new and deadly, far more dangerous than the sum of their parts. This is the paradox of the Imperial Guard regiment, disorganized in form, yet resilient in function, adaptable to every war zone, yet always in service to a single, unyielding purpose. The way they fight is grim, often a slog of attrition, where human lives are spent with cold calculation. To the outside observer, it is madness. Hordes of soldiers charging into lasfire and artillery blasts, waves crashing against the shores of alien fortresses and heretical strongholds. But in this sacrifice lies the true strength of the Guard, their sheer indomitability. The individual guardsmen may be insignificant, but together they are the tide that drowns worlds. Their tactics are as varied as the planets they hail from, yet all share the same guiding principle. No enemy can outlast the Guard's numbers, no fortress withstand their endless siege. Their importance to humanity cannot be overstated. The Guard is the Imperium's backbone, the force that holds back annihilation on every front. Without them, there would be no Imperium, only a scattered, doomed species, huddling in the darkness of forgotten worlds. They are the living embodiment of the Emperor's light, wielding the flame of defiance in the face of an uncaring galaxy. Their effect on the stars is profound. Where the Guard marches, worlds are saved, rebellions crushed, and alien empires shattered. They are the hand of the Imperium, and through them, humanity's grasp on the galaxy remains firm.